What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Chaseontwowheels First Ride. We are here at Mountain Motorsports in Roswell, and in front of us we have a 2019 KTM 790 Adventure, which is basically their 790 Duke, and they made it an adventure bike out of it. Also, a couple other things to note. If you haven't noticed by my voice, I am sick, so I'm gonna sound a little different. Also, two things, something new for this video. I talked Mountain Motorsports into giving you guys first ride special pricing on motorcycles at Mountain Motorsports. So if you guys want like a discount on bikes, you are welcome. You can click the link down below. It'll take you to a little page. You just got to sign some information stuff, and then you get first ride special pricing. So you guys can thank me later if you're in the market for a brand new motorcycle. But are you going to be in the market for a 790 Adventure? I don't know. Let's find out in today's First Ride, brought to you by a sponsor that we'll talk about in a second. Let's get ready to race, KTM.
This video is sponsored by Vincero. They're a company making premium style watches, but at a price that normal people like you and me can actually afford. You guys probably see the majority of the time I wear an Apple Watch, but there are a ton of situations I wish I had a nicer watch to wear, and after seeing the watches Vincero offers, I was totally on board. They sell directly to the consumers, and because of that, they're able to have a look and feel of luxury watches that cost like 10 times the price of their watches. If you guys don't believe me, you can read over the 16,000 plus 5-star reviews on their website, and they also offer free worldwide shipping. It's awesome to have a brand making super premium looking watches that everyday people like you and me can afford. I've always been shocked when I hear of the prices of some of the luxury watches that people buy. I specifically like the Rogue version that I have here. The band is really durable so I can wear it while I ride, but the face of it gives it that really high quality look. If you guys are in the market for a new watch or just need something to wear in those situations where the Apple Watch ain't gonna quite cut it, you guys can get 15% off your order at Vincero by using my code CHASE. So check out Vincero at the top link down below and use code CHASE to get yourself 15% off your next watch.
All right, dude, I'm so sick. This is so ridiculous. All right, I loved the 790. I love the 790 Duke. If you guys haven't seen the 790 Duke First Ride, highly recommend. Supposedly this thing has a really low seat height, so let's check this stuff out. Very low seat height. So if you guys aren't familiar, adventure bikes are typically really tall. I've always looked at adventure bikes as like, when I'm an old man, I'll have an adventure bike. But they're always really tall and really heavy. So this one's like opposite. It's got like a low seat height and it's very light. I was rolling this thing out from the showroom and I was like, what the hell? This thing is so light. But I think part of that is because of these giant pieces right here. It's actually the gas tank. So if you guys see it's in transport lock, that's some weird KTM thing. So don't worry about that. I'm not stealing it. So from what I understand, the motor for this bike is the same parallel twin as the 790 Duke, except this guy has no clue what way to go down the street. So the 790 Duke has the same motor, but it's retuned to not be as harsh, but to give more low down torque. Now I don't do adventure riding, so I can't say shit about how good or bad that is, but we're gonna find out how good or bad it is. so you can still throttle it up. Whoa, you need to turn if you're gonna turn, bud. The power delivery on this feels almost like an entirely different motorcycle from the 790 Duke. It's kind of just, it feels kind of heavy. Like, it's weird though, the power delivery mixed with the engine braking feels heavy on this bike. So it takes a second for the power to come on, and then I can feel this weight shift forward when I let off the throttle. It is not a flicky back and forth motorcycle. Part of that is going to be that 21-inch front tire. So for you guys that are like me that don't really know much about adventure bikes, they normally have a larger front tire. I assume that's to handle odd road conditions. Try to get these mirrors right for a second. So adventure bikes are made to be able to handle on the road, but then you're able to take them off-road and like go over all types of crazy terrain. Now this bike is going to be more focused on road. It doesn't, you know, they have an R model that supposedly is hard to even find, and that's going to be your really good off-road model. But so this is kind of a mix between a touring bike and an adventure bike. But regardless, the whole point, the front tire on this bike is a 21-inch front tire, and that it makes it kind of hard to flick back and forth. It's not hard, like the steering is very light, you know, it's a light bike, but the bike kind of stays planted in the road. It doesn't want to lean over, and I cannot get out of first gear. This boy, is that on? I don't want to break this thing, so I'm not going to mess with that. I kind of hope that's adjustable with the way that looks, but we'll see. Clutch engages really quickly, but it's adjustable, it's cable, so not a big deal there. You can just adjust that to how you want. Alright, we're not on a fast bike, but I want to go faster than these people. I like that. See, when you need power, the thing will actually go. Now, I'm not sure what kind of power delivery you really want for off-road use, but for on-road use, I kind of like this. You know, because this is a bike you have to like ride a long distance, and you don't really want a crazy amount of power to ride long distances because that's just a lot to deal with. You want to be able to chill, you know? As far as body position goes, it's really relaxed, really comfortable. My arms are kind of horizontal and kind of just chilling here. My back's really upright, and I just feel like I'm in a really comfortable body position. The seat is interestingly a little hard, but if you guys have ever ridden for a really long time, you know that a good long distance seat is not really hard and it's not really soft. A really soft seat, surprisingly, is not comfortable for a really long time. So I feel really good about what this seat feels like. I would have some confidence that it would be a solid seat to have for like a really long trip, which is what you're going to be doing on this bike, right? It's going to be the bike to take a long distance and, you know, take a dirt road here and there. The title for this first ride should be, man, that bike is sick. Just kidding, that's only Chase. Also, I was a little worried with the low seat height. I was worried my legs would be cramped up on this bike, but they're actually very comfortably bent. They're kind of bent back a little bit, and I do feel like I'm in this slightly aggressive position. Like, my legs are aggressive, my upper body is just kind of chilly. Not chilly like cold, but like chill, you know, like Netflix and chill, which I like. I like that. I like my legs being kind of poised, but I don't like them being crunched up. While we're in traffic, let's see if we can change modes. We got KTM's little dash situation here, which I am a fan of. I like this one more than I like the one on the Super Duke. If you guys go back and watch the Super Duke first ride, I wasn't a huge fan of the Super Duke dash. Ride mode, there we go. So we're in street. We'll go to rain. All right, so we'll go back to street before we get on the highway. You guys know that we only do the highway test at the maximum power. Now, I'm assuming that rain mode is going to be your, you know, tone everything down, all the types of stuff mode. Not as much power, increased ABS, increased traction control, and stuff like that. So it's your safe mode, you know? Wow. That 21-inch front tire feels so weird going over, man. Let's put it this way. If I was on a really long trip on a KTM 790 adventure and I went through the mountains, I don't think I would turn around and go back through just one more time. I would be like, all right, that was cool. I'm gonna keep on going now. I don't really like the feeling of the 21-inch front tire. Keep in mind, guys, I'm a fan of like the naked bikes. I just left my fanhood of the Supersports, so I do prefer a slightly more aggressive bike, and a 21-inch front tire just doesn't allow for that. It's not its purpose, you know. It's not supposed to do that. I'm not saying that's a negative for this motorcycle, because obviously, like, that would be like saying, how dare my Jeep not be fast, right? I have a Jeep Compass. That vehicle should not be fast. So it's not what this vehicle is intended for, and it's not my personal preference, but it's not necessarily a bad thing about the bike. I will say, for an adventure bike, I am impressed at how like light the bike is. It's not taking a lot of energy to like ride this bike around, and as long as you don't try to ride it like an absolute hoon and like knee drag on it and stuff, I think it's a really enjoyable ride. I am liking that this seat has like a 2-layer situation. Like at the back of where I'm sitting, there's a little ramp up, and then there's a pillion seat, and I can kind of sit my butt into it, and I feel really comfortable sitting into that, so that's really nice. I can definitely tell the difference between the modes, which I always like. It's one of my pet peeves. I can't stand when a bike has modes and then you can't use the modes. Like, there's no point. So nice job, KTM, on making rain mode actually toned down. Obviously, rain mode has ABS and traction control updated, and we're not going to be testing those out, thank God. But something that this bike also has is something that I've been really interested in, and that's KTM's cornering ABS. So supposedly KTM's been putting cornering ABS into all their bikes recently, and it basically allows you to lay on the brakes in a corner. Now, if you guys don't know all about cornering and braking, typically corners are a no-no zone for braking. You can look into it on your own time if you want, but it's supposedly really cool stuff. Rain mode's obviously going to give us enhanced ABS, but for us right now, we need to be in street mode because I've got the highway up ahead, and I know a lot of you guys are always interested in the highway part of this video. We just fell into neutral, which is odd. Yeah, there's that throttle back. Woo, we came to a quick stop on that, boys. I like how I just talked shit about having ABS on a bike and then almost run into a 4Runner. Oh man, that was the first time ABS has ever saved my ass. KTM, I owe you one first ride wreck. So now I'm torn. Do I say the brakes are good because I didn't run into the 4Runner, or do I say the brakes are not great because I almost ran into the 4Runner? These are the things I need to know. Regardless, I think the brakes are meh, and I think the ABS is phenomenal because I felt the rear locked up. Wow, I should be way more scared than I was. All right, so the highway test is going to be interesting for this bike, guys. we're just gonna move on from this video as if that did not happen. All right, nobody saw that. So guys, when we get on the highway right here, what I'm going to be looking for is comfort on the highway and relative power for passing. I'm not looking for this bike to be able to get on the highway and haul ass, because this is a bike you're supposed to get on the highway and ride for a long time, right? You're not getting on the highway with your buddies blasting down a couple exits and getting off before you get arrested by the cops. You're here to do a long distance ride, so that's what we're going to be looking for out of this bike on the highway. Oh, one thing I noticed that I don't like on this bike, so we've got a blinker indicator, but it just blinks that one of the blinkers is on. It doesn't tell you which one is actually happening. Not too big of a fan of that. Oh, it's gonna let us go. Awesome. All right, highway test. Here we go, fam. All right, we're beginning our journey. Our giant trip has begun. We've done the city streets, and we're now here on the highway, where we presumably will be riding for hours. We have a over 5-gallon gas tank, so we should be able to ride here forever. But the question is, how comfortable is the highway? How windy is the highway? Off the bat, wind-wise, I kind of wish this was a little taller, because the wind's kind of barely clipping the top of my head. It's close. This is really close to being tall enough. I could tuck in a little bit. Like right here, I got no wind at all. Right here, I can start to feel it a little bit. This is one of the benefits of having that big front tire, though. I feel solid on a medium-sized adventure bike. I feel like planted on the highway. I don't feel like the wind is pushing me around or anything. That's one of the benefits of a bigger adventure bike, is you've got that weight to kind of like anchor you to the ground. But that front tire is helping out a lot. I imagine the lower center of gravity with the gas tanks down there is also helpful. Seating position is still solid on the highway here. Kind of got my arms rested against the handlebars, and I'm just kind of relaxed. I could totally see riding this bike on the highway for an extended period of time with no problems. It's really comfortable where I can like sit upright a little more, stretch a little bit, move my legs out, you know, and spend a lot of time here. I wish it had cruise control, but I do know that you can get an aftermarket cruise control for this bike. I would highly recommend that. If you're looking into this bike, cruise control is going to be an almost required thing for a long trip. Even with being planted on the highway, as you guys can see, we can still come in and out of cars. It is weird. I do feel like I need to make my move, my body move, a little ahead of time. Like you got to do what you want to do, and then the bike starts to go in that direction. You got to kind of flow with the KTM 790 Adventure. You can't, it's not aggressive, you know, you throw it in. Riding this bike kind of reminds me of using a really slow editing computer. It takes some time, like you ask it to do something and after a minute it'll actually do it. Which is fine, you know, if you're adventuring, you don't want to have, like, you're going to get fatigued by like quickly, like these quick movements and stuff like that. So it's slow and methodical. It's going to keep you, keep some energy with you on those longer rides. But then you get to city streets and you just blast around. I'd be interested to ride some more adventure bikes to see if they all, you know, with that 21-inch front tire, do they all have that really kind of slow and methodical way of maneuvering? So now we're kind of just cruising around, you know, like city streets and stuff, and it's not bad. This is not the first bike I would choose for city riding, but something that's interesting about this bike is it's more of a kind of chill bike. It's not, you know, most bikes have this perception of you're supposed to be fast and like cutting in and out of traffic and getting into neutral. Neutral is a little harder to get in on this bike. But yeah, this bike has this odd feeling of just like chill. You know, like with the majority of the bikes I ride, they're quick and they're agile and they like dive into turns. This bike is like polar opposite to everything I'm used to on a motorcycle. The steering is a little slower, the power is not excessive, and I mean, it's light, so you know, you would expect that kind of like dive in aspect, but it's just not a fast bike. It's kind of what I was saying earlier. It's not necessarily a bad thing for the bike not to be fast, because like I was saying, you know, if I'm imagining myself riding this bike for an extended period of time, I don't know if I really want a lot of the fast stuff. I kind of want it to be more relaxed and have more energy by the time I get to my destination, you know? Because this is a long haul bike, or at least I feel like that. This is the bike you're supposed to be on for a while. So I feel like that's pretty helpful to have all of that at your fingertips. I am realizing that the bike is, the RPMs are flashing at me pretty early on. That might be because I'm in like demo mode. we got to take that into consideration. You know, I feel like this bike, its like category is beginner adventure bike. I feel like this would be a really good starter for a person that already knows out the gate that they want to be doing like some sort of long haul adventure stuff, and the occasional, you know, you take a dirt road. And I feel like this is a really good starter bike because the power is so toned down. Ooh, I can feel that ABS kicking in. So we've got off-road mode. I'm willing to bet that off-road mode is going to allow me to do a semi-wheelie on this. Alright, for shits and giggles, let's try doing a wheelie in off-road mode. I don't know what off-road mode is, but it seems logical that I could do a wheelie, right? Oh yeah. This thing's got that low end power. You don't got to be going fast to pop a wheelie up, which is good because wheelies are fun. It's not letting it go up too high though. I think that traction control is stopping it. You know what it also is the suspension is soft enough to where it takes a lot. Alright, so off-road mode is not letting me get the wheel up. You probably have to get the traction control turned off to really pop a good one. I imagine KTM's electronics seem to be really solid, so I imagine they're not going to let you get that front wheel up. Oh, there we go. Street mode worked out way better. Wow. Surprising. I would have thought street mode would not let you do the wheelie. I guess that should really be no surprise. If you guys saw my 790 first ride, the Duke, 790 Duke, my main takeaway from that bike was it had more power than it needed with the weight. It was too light for the amount of power that it had, but it was a phenomenal bike. So this bike is actually taking that motor, toned it down some, and added some weight. So this is a much better overall package. Like, it's a better, I guess it's a better balanced motorcycle than the 790 Duke was. You know, I'm realizing with a lack of doing adventure bikes first rides on this channel, you know, I've done a V-Strom a few years ago, and I've done a multi-strada before, but I had a lot of experience with adventure bikes because I'm sitting here thinking about things to review for you guys about this bike, and one of the things I kind of want to complain about is that the engine doesn't sound real big. You know, it sounds kind of light and small. But I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm trying to keep putting myself in a position of riding on a long adventure on this bike. And I wouldn't want, you know, a really throaty engine. I would want something kind of chill that can be reliable on a really long distance. And I wouldn't want to have a crazy exhaust like yelling in my ear the entire time. So in one hand I want to be like, yeah, I wish the engine was a little meatier. It sounded a little meatier, felt a little meatier. But then I'm like, do you though? Do you want to be dealing with that for, you know, an 8-hour ride day? Think about it. Something that I feel like this bike shines in, and KTM did a really good job, is that lower center of gravity with the tanks. We're about to get off the bike in a minute and look at it. I think it looks real funky, but riding around town, it really starts to shine because you've got an adventure bike that's got the weight to be stable everywhere, but we're in and around town, and I can just like maneuver it around, and it feels so much lighter. Like the whole bike feels lighter because of that lower center of gravity. We'll check out those giant things when we get up here. You guys can see they're right here. We'll see them up here. All right, finally getting into neutral. All right, guys, 2019 KTM 790 Adventure. Based on the 790 Duke. I've got that similar KTM headlight here. This is that big 21-inch front tire, spoked rear. That is what's causing that lack of being able to dip in quickly, but it's also, I feel like, giving you that stability on the highway, which is super necessary when you don't have a really big bike. So guys, you can see the gas tank is here, like, you know, kind of normal, and it comes down, and then it comes all the way down here, so it holds the majority of the gas down here. Obviously, that's lower to the ground. That's what's making this bike feel like I can just flick it back and forth. Now, I'm not gonna lie, looks-wise, I think this bike looks weird as hell. It looks like a pregnant praying mantis. The head's the praying mantis part, and that's the pregnant part. I'm not personally a fan of how it looks, but I mean, it's subjective, you know. We've also got the white version here. As you guys know, KTM is hardcore orange, so of course those boys got an orange option. I like this option. It's minimal with the orange, you know what I mean? Like legit, this is a decal. You could take that and that off and you'd have a white bike, you know, or you could wrap it a different color or do whatever you want to it. It's got a like semi off-road tire. I don't even know anything about off-road tires, but it's got bigger groove tires, so I'm assuming you could take it off-road. You guys can obviously see it's ready to go off-road because it's got some type of like guard here for all the engine components, so that way if you go over a big rock, it'll hit that, not your headers, and you know, cause all types of crazy damage. Also, part of being an adventure bike, it's got a really big pillion seat, so if you have a wife or a boyfriend that rides on the back with you, that would be hilarious to see. No judgment. You got a big comfy seat for them. If this material is anything like this material, which of course it is, very comfortable. This is that bump I was talking about. This is a really great shape for sitting farther back. Obviously you can get a big box for the back. You know, you're going to be traveling, you need all types of gear with you. But yeah guys, that's the 2019 KTM 790 Adventure walk around. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. And if you guys want to download some high-res photos, we do a little photo collage of every first dry bike we do. You can see them over at Chaseontwowheels.com. There'll be a link down below if you want to check those out. You can also see a couple of the photos I take of this thing. I'll post them on Instagram at C2DubPics, so you guys can go over there and follow me on Instagram. That way you'll kind of get a heads up of the bikes I do first rides on. I also ask you guys what you're looking for on first rides, so if you guys want to help dictate what I kind of look into on the bikes, that'd be a good spot to do it. Hey look, here's the brakes that saved on my butt. I almost said our butt, but let's be real, if we'd have crashed, you guys wouldn't get hurt. Alright, let's finish this first ride up with something I just noticed. This low seat height is so nice for you guys that want to do adventure riding. But like I was saying, most adventure bikes are giant, heavy, and tall. And if you can't reach the ground, you got to tiptoe, right, back and forth. But if you tiptoe a big-ass bike, by the time you get over, bro, it ain't looking good. You're going to hit the ground. But with a lower seat height bike, it kind of opens up adventure riding for a lot more people, which is really freaking cool. Another thing to note is this bike does have the KTM My Ride, which basically connects the bike to your phone, and you can control your music and stuff up here, which is a pretty cool little touch. Looking at these settings, like, I am a huge fan of KTM, like how they have all their shit set up. Gone are the days where motorcycles were complicated to figure out. I feel like it started with like the Triumph Street Triple. Bikes are suddenly really easy to change, like the shift light, you know, like little stuff like that. It's really easy to change that stuff these days, and it's really nice to see that. I just realized we got a gas gauge right here. Heck yeah, KTM. I'm liking this dash more and more, guys, for real. So something I just realized and should have thought about, quick shifter, ready for it? Up and down, my boys. Something I totally forgot was the 790 Duke first ride had a quick shifter up and down, and that was one of the major aspects of that bike that I loved. I said I liked the Street Triple more than the 790 Duke in every aspect, but they were even to me simply for the fact that the 790 Duke had an up and down quick shifter. I forgot to check, but this bike has an up and down quick shifter, which is absolutely phenomenal. Alright guys, so after spending some time on this bike, who is the KTM 790 Adventure for? This bike comes in at like a $12,000 price tag, so it is not going to be a cheap motorcycle yet. This is an investment bike. But who's it for? I honestly feel like this is the beginner adventure bike. This would be a phenomenal motorcycle to get if you know if your motorcycle dreams and aspirations are to be doing adventures. And when I say adventure, I mean spending some significant time in the saddle. You know, you don't want to just go to the mountains on Sundays or something like that. When I'm thinking of adventures, I'm thinking like, you know, ride an entire day or a multi-day trip or something like that. That's what I'm considering an adventure. And you know, as motorcyclists, we all have different wants. Some of us, like me, I want to ride around town and use it as my main mode of transportation when I can. And I want to go to the mountains on the weekends and do the occasional track day. That's kind of where I'm at as a motorcyclist. But we're all on different journeys, man. Some people don't get motorcycles for that. Some people get bikes so they can do these big multi-day trips. If you know that is the type of riding you want to do, adventure bikes are expensive as hell. And for 12 grand, you can get an entry level into that adventure market. I think this is a phenomenal bike to do that. Now, if you're one of the people that you don't really know the type of riding you want to be doing, but you're a more reserved type of rider, this will be a really good bike for you too, because the engine is not really snappy. The bike itself, maneuverability wise, isn't really snappy. So it's more of a chill bike, so it would kind of fit a chill personality. I would kind of push you towards something like this. Also, you know, if you have that chill personality and you like KTMs, there's just going to be like a really good long-term bike. So if that's the type of bike you're looking at, this bike is going to definitely be good for you, and I can highly recommend it for that. But yeah, guys, that's the first ride on the 2019 KTM 790 Adventure. Probably the best beginner adventure bike is what I'm gonna call this bike, which is kind of crazy because it's got a 790 engine, you know what I mean? But the engine's toned down, it doesn't feel like that. And yeah, guys, before we get out of here, got to give a big shout out to my guys over at Mountain Motorsports. They're the dealership that let us do first rides on these bikes for you guys, to let you guys know what they're like riding them for the first time. And I'm very happy to announce I finally worked out a deal with Mountain to where you guys, the fans of first rides, are able to get a huge discount on machines only in the Georgia locations. So if you're in the North Georgia area, or hell, if you're close, if the discount is good enough, it might be worth a drive over to Georgia to see what type of discount you can get. Again, all you gotta do is click that top link in the description, and that'll take you through the little process to sign up to get first ride special pricing. And hopefully I can save you guys some money on your next bike. If I did save you guys some money on your next bike, make sure to let me know, because that would make me so happy to know that I was able to save you guys some cash that you guys could put towards like some accessories for your bike or some gear or something like that. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and share it out to somebody that you want to go on a big motorcycle adventure with. But anyways, guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. I am sick as shit, so I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I really appreciate you guys getting to the end of the video. It always means a ton, you guys that watch the entire video. Oh God, I gotta stop talking. Outro crew, I can't talk anymore. Hopefully I get feeling better really soon, because this sucks. But outro crew, let me know, could you guys tell that we're on the new first ride helmet or not? Ideally you couldn't tell, the quality level will be the same, but let me know if you guys could tell a quality difference. That will be very helpful to me. Ooh, especially now with the visor open. Anyway, guys, you guys know I love you for getting to the end of it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.